It's been a while since I've asked whose turn is it anyway, and I'm getting reunion vibes already. Becky's back on the mic, and we're going to look at the games that bring people in and the moments that push them away. Welcome to the Just Play podcast. I'm your host, JP, and this is a very special episode because it's a Just Play reunion, which, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, let me just get straight over and introduce my very special guest. It is Becky from...
Hi, mate.
Formerly from the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast. So, welcome, Becky. Blast from the past.
I'm honoured to be here.
I say blast from the past. Not for me. I saw you last night.
Yes, yeah, and the night before, wasn't it, as well?
I've seen you more in this past week than I've probably seen you in, I don't know, the past month or so. But yeah, I wanted to, we was having a chat, right? And you said, you know, obviously with a new venture and doing Just Play, and you said, I'd love to help or support. If you ever need to, you know, run an episode and you want me to jump on, I'd love to do it. And I went, why not? Let's do it. Let's kind of do a special kind of reunion sort of episode, and mainly for the listeners of the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast who have gone, I miss Becky.
I don't think anyone said that, I
don't know. I think there are definitely people out there that will go, well, I enjoy those episodes that Becky does. I enjoy the episodes that Adrian does and all that kind of stuff. And I've obviously feel a little bit guilty because I said, no, I'm not doing Whose Turn Is It Anyway anymore. And I've kind of stopped it. so, you know.
But the amount of effort and people wrangling you have to do, mate. I mean, you do that enough in a job as it is. You don't need to do it in your free time, do you? I must apologise. If anyone can hear lots of rowdy noise, Curly, Tambo and Rob are in the kitchen playing Elder Scrolls.
So it is a reunion in a way because they're playing.
It sort of is, yeah.
They're playing games, and they might have to just get them to say hi. That'd be quite cool. But no, I mean, for those that don't know yourself, Becky, because we've got some new listeners to the Just Play podcast that maybe haven't even listened to Whose Turn, and if not, why not? Because there's 4 years worth of content there.
Get on the bandwagon, guys.
Get on the bandwagon, and if you enjoy this, you're definitely probably going to enjoy all of that stuff. And maybe skip the first few episodes because of audio quality issues, because we were learning and noobs.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It definitely is. But for those that don't know you, basically, how long have you been in the hobby? And kind of let's start there. Let's introduce yourself as if no one knows.
Yeah, I think it was probably about 2017, I reckon. Early days when we started, when you started the gaming group, wanting more people to play with. And me and Curly had just got back together after about 5-year gap, probably something like that. And we realised that we needed to do something. We needed to set aside time together that we could, not schedule fun, but do something that we made sure that we kind of prioritize actually spending time together. So we've both got quite singular hobbies. So he plays a lot of video games, PC games, reading books, stuff like that. I do quite a lot of crafting and reading. So sort of solitary hobbies really that aren't necessarily geared up for sharing with other people. So we both kind of like games. Our families like games, so we thought, we'll try a bit of Catan. Oh, and there we go, and the doors opened, and the rest is history, really. Yeah, so started off with Catan and Carcassonne, and that's half of it there. So it just kind of snowballs, doesn't it, in that lovely way of a collection. That's what gaming really was for me and for us. It was a way of making sure that we sort of prioritized each other and spent time together. And we do play some games together now, but I think probably in the Venn diagram of his kind of favourite games and mine, there is a bit of an overlap. But I think, we've definitely got more games that we don't like of each other's than probably games that we share. But there's plenty enough that we do share.
So no, that's cool. I think, similarly, I think with your husband, I have a similar Venn diagram now. We used to be quite overlapped, but I think I think this is the thing in the hobby, right? You when you're in it a while, like in the early stages, everyone plays everything and they're in the same thing, but you kind of get to know what you like and what you don't like, and you get more choosy, more picky, and then you get your wheelhouse, right? This is my stuff, and everyone gets their stuff.
I think that's why we've got such a good gaming group together, because that diversity of interest means that there's always going to be someone out of everybody that will probably want to play that said game. Whereas I've got quite a lot of games in my collection that I know that Curly won't want to play. So unless I played with others, they'd never get to the table. So I think it's nice that everyone's likes a bit of something different.
Yeah, 100%. So, your favourite game then? Do you have a favourite game? I thought about this question. I said, does Becky have a favourite game? And I can't think what it is. It's all of them.
No, I mean, for anyone that listened to the Whose Turn pod, they'll know that I'm going to say Ark Nova. They'll know that I'm going to say that. I mean, there's a few that are up there, but I think, well, with Ark Nova, I love the artwork. I love the theme. The action selection mechanic is so clever and not brain burnery, but you can really use it to some sort of depth. And I think most importantly for me, I've got the repetition of plays. And I think for that for me is really important. I don't think I'm a slow learner necessarily, but I like to do things over and over and over and over again. And then I really kind of feel like, oh, I've got this now. That absolutely does not mean that my win streak is high, especially when I'm playing against Curly. But it means that I know how the game works. And for me, that's really important for my enjoyment of it anyway.
And I think for the Whose Turn listeners, I have to call it Bark Bover. Bark Bover. That's what I have to call it. And the people that haven't listened to that won't know what I'm on about. But that's fine.
They all mock me, but it's still my favourite game and I can't help it. And I don't want to help it, so there.
That's fair. That is fair. So there you go, everyone. So for the new listeners, that's Becky. But for those who have listened to Whose Turn will know exactly who you are and what you like and all that kind of stuff. Yep. So let's kind of move on to the thing. I wanted to ask you, kind of on behalf of the listeners, right? Which is kind of a weird question for me to ask you, but like obviously from a being on the podcast perspective, what's it been like for you since I've been a bit of a git and said not to do it?
Don't
anymore?
say that. You absolutely haven't been a bit of a git. I'm really, really pleased, and I know all of us are, that you're still carrying on with this because A, you really love it, and B, you're really good at it, and it's really nice that this is still existing rather than it just kind of crumbling to nothing. So I'm really glad that the podcast ended when it did. The Whose Turn podcast ended when it did. Everyone's still enjoying it, and that's really, really important. And I think if we'd have carried on much longer with you having to do all of the organising, then it becomes not fun anymore, doesn't it? And that's why are we all here? We're playing games because it's fun. It's not a chore. Yeah. So what have I missed? Well, I don't know. Bizarrely, probably the thing that I would have thought I would have disliked the most, which is the prep that I had to do for my episodes. You know me, JP. I like a bit of prep work, and I get myself sorted. And yeah, just thinking about this, doing this sort of chat with you now, it's like, oh yeah, I really liked kind of setting out my thoughts in order and thinking about the topic. But if you'd have asked me, what are you going to be really glad you don't have to do? I would have 100% said they're sorting out for the episodes. So yeah, I think, to be honest, not much has changed for us. We all still game together. We went to the UKGE together. Yep. Everything is still exactly the same, isn't it? No, there's not been any kind of change. No. Yeah, so I listened to your episodes just the same as I listened to the ones that we put out that I wasn't in.
Yeah, I think that's important for me as well. Like, I didn't really want anything to change in that respect. And it's kind of weird because like, I think if people listening think I might have just disappeared off the face of the earth for you guys because they won't get to see you. Whereas I live in close proximity of you.
Yeah,
you're still
you live in our house
group.
pretty much.
Yeah, we still play games, so nothing really has changed on that
not
perspective. And I know I'll probably speak for some of the other guys who, they're quite happy to have the time back. To be honest,
yeah, so, it is a big chunk of time. I mean, maybe not for those of us that didn't do the background stuff. Yeah. But it's still a time drop in a busy life, isn't it? Really.
It is. There we go. Cool. I thought I'd ask the question because it's not one that I kind of wanted to ask for my own, like, oh, please tell me what I want to hear. It's generally, I think people would ask it of you, and it's probably one whenever I get one of the old team back, I'll ask it on them, and just basically, it's nice to see how you've been getting on from everyone's perspective. So
yeah. Well, we're all still here. We're all still gaming just the same.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I've probably gamed more in the last, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks than I have. It's always the UKG kind of, I don't know, ignites a little gaming spark back again, doesn't it? So it's quite nice.
It certainly does. So I think in basically in my normal episodes, as you know, I have a section called Just Played where we talk about games that I've played, and it's pretty much a rip-off. I'm not going to lie, it's a rip-off of our old section, which is Let's Talk About Hex. So in homage to Whose Does It Anyway, I think we should reignite the Let's Talk About Hex segment, and I'm going to insert the sting.
Bring it back, baby.
I'm going to insert the sting just for old time's sake, so it's there. So here we go. I'm going to do it right now. There we go. That is Let's Talk About Hex. That's fun. I love the old stings. I do kind of miss them in putting them in because they're very energetic and crazy. Like
energetic is the word, I think. Yeah,
it's very just like I can't have it. But there we go. So let's talk about Hex. I'm not going to talk about games because I've been doing it on my own episodes. And if I keep talking about all the games that I keep playing, I'm going to run out of content. So I'm going to keep some of them back. But I want to talk about what you've played.
Well, the games that I've played recently have, funnily enough, been with you. So
on last Sunday.
We've played, we played Wispwood, not Whisperwood or Whispering Wood, Wispwood, CG's Wispwood, and Nocturne by Flat Out Games. Yes. So they've been the two that have been latest on my tables. Absolutely loved Wispwood. What a great game. Really nice, just perfect for me. It's puzzly, which is great. Love a puzzle game. Mm-hmm. It's really simple. The premise is really simple, but the choice then becomes like, oh no, do I go for this? You've got a really nice decision space, which is really well done, and it's very beautiful, which is, as some of your listeners will know, is very important to me. What a great game. Really simple, and I used the scoring app that you can download, and that was
very cool.
Chef's kiss. Very, very helpful, nice and simple. Really liked that.
Yeah, I agree. That really streamlined the game bits that we just. I want to get to the next level, Becky. So
yes,
I've got you.
This is it. Well, hold your phone over it. Yeah, hold your phone over. Bing, bing, bing. Done. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So for those that haven't heard of Wispwood before, very high level, like what's the premise of the game? What's the structure? What's the flow?
So you're building a 4x4 or 5x5 or 6x6 grid made out of tiles. These tiles are either trees or what they call wisps, which are blue orbs, red hearts, jack-o'-lanterns, and witches' hats. Yep. So you have a set kind of design you're trying to construct, which will give you points for jack-o'-lantern, say, and a different design that will score you for the heart wisps and the trees, that sort of thing. So each level you are getting a bigger grid, but your wisps stay in place. So wherever you put them on the first round, bear in mind that that's exactly where they're going to stay for the next round. But some have sort of placement rules. So for example, the game we played the other day, you could only place the hat wisps, the witch hat wisps, next to or in the column where your cat is. So your cat is like a central figure in your forest, because cats live in forests, right? Sure, and they hide in trees. So, but yeah, it all works in that lovely board game weird theme kind of planet. So you have to kind of be judicious with where you put your cat the start of each round, because that is going to restrict where you can place certain things. So there's a little bit of pre-planning, but not enough that it ruins your whole game, because each turn one of the players is going to take one of the pieces out of the pond, which is like the market area, and then you can choose to put it in the configuration of either shape either side, like Tetris kind of pieces, aren't they? So you can pick either of those. However, you don't know what your neighbour's going to pick, so you can't set your heart on having particularly that thing, because you can guarantee that if you do that, then the person in front of you is going to take it first, which is very disappointing.
Just annoying.
But action. So selection of tile placement, I would say, is its kind of in essence.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about it is the fact that it grows in rounds, right? So Yeah, you like start with that 4x4 where you think, oh, everything's really tight, and it's like I only get a few shapes in, and then it's done, and then you get to the 5x5 and you go, oh, well, this space, and then you get the 6x6. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you can think, well, actually, I can move it quite far to the left or right for a start, and then you're kind of going to lock yourself into a particular sort of dimension, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really interesting. And I love the way that you take the trees out. So you've got this kind of higgledy-piggledy bit of a grid, but then you've got to fill it back round again. So you've got to be careful how you put things. But yeah, really, I think it's one of those games where you play it once and you understand what you're doing. And then the second time you play, you kind of, you know what you're aiming to do, which I think is really important for me for gaming. I need to be able to get the point really quickly. Otherwise, I kind of, if I don't know why I'm making decisions, I think I'm better at it now than I used to be, for sure, with learning new games. But I think definitely I like that kind of low stake for a start. It's only going to be, I don't know, half an hour. So if you completely muck it up, it's not the end of the world. You can just play another round. And I really like that. I really like that in a game.
Yeah, I was impressed with Wispwood. I think we were talking about obviously my experience in Essen last year, because I picked up or played a copy. I think it's probably Mark's copy or Mr. Monk from Ninja Geek Games, who keeps getting
there's your mention, Mark. There is your mention, Mark.
Yeah, sponsored by Ninja Geek Games. Just Play podcast. And effectively, yeah, we played it on. I think it was like the first evening, and it's one of those games like that, you know me, like it's not what I would pick to choose to play, right? That kind of game is like, I play it and I usually have a great time, but it's not something I would go, I really want to play. But I came away going, you know what, that was a surprise. It's probably the biggest surprise hit for me, that Essen experience, and gone, it was such a bloody good game. And I kind of sitting there going, oh God.
For something so simple, it's, I mean, and that's, I think, one of the good things about it. You could play it with someone who doesn't want to get super beardy over it and really try and min-max everything. You could play this with kids because it is easy to understand. So it's simple, but if you want to try and kind of min-max and get the most efficient placement, you can do that with a bit of thought. I wouldn't recommend that though, because you're just going to sit there looking at the shapes and just pulling your hair out.
But you're right though, it's a game that I think families would enjoy, but it's a game that gamers would enjoy playing with their families. And that for me is what I struggle with, actually. I've noticed that more and more where I kind of bring games or family games, I lose interest in the game if it doesn't have enough in it for me. And that's the curse of me playing heavier games, right? I go, oh, I was bored of this. But no, that one I think has something for everyone, like for newbies that just like the tessellation of trying to fit shapes in spaces, but also that, like you say, the oh no, but if I put it here, and the satisfaction of filling this particular shape and seeing how that works. Oh, it's like, yes, I've finished my grid. Have it.
And in the same kind of vein, that's what I liked about Nocturne, the flat out games Nocturne,
it's very good.
Which is what would you describe it as? A bidding mechanic. So you've got tokens of a certain value, and you're kind of creating a sort of snake pattern on a grid of certain sizes, depending on how many players you've got. We were playing a 4x5, so you put the tiles out, and then one player starts, and the next player then, in an orthogonal direction, can put one of their larger value tokens, and then each person can either choose to pass or increase their sort of token, and then the winner takes that tile. And then you do it again and then again, and there's a few sort of tweaks in it. So you're trying to do a bit of set collection, but there's also goals that you're trying to, so towards the end of the game you might be looking to win the pieces in the corners or whatever. So it's a set collection bidding game with a bit of, what's the mechanic called when you're trying to kind of fulfill a contract? Just contract fulfilling.
Basically, fulfilling contracts.
Yeah. And again, very beautiful. I guess some people might be a bit annoyed by or bored by the kind of anthropomorphized animal thing. I'm all for it. I love a nice bit of that, like kind of Andrew Bosley, Beth Sobel kind of beautiful artwork. I am here for it.
You like foxes in robes, and that's pretty much what Nocturne is giving you.
That's basically Nocturne.
Yeah, I don't mind the theme. Theme doesn't do anything for me, but it doesn't like get in the way of the game at all. But
it could be anything. It could be space. It could be absolutely anything. But
it's quite cute.
The kind of
Yeah, it's quite cute. I really like. I've not seen it done before. The bid snaky mechanic, and actually, when you kind of explain it to people, and they go, "What?" And it's difficult to kind of visualize how it would be, but when you start playing it, it's quite straightforward. It's like, oh yeah, okay.
After sort of turn 2, you know exactly what you're doing.
But it's the nuances of it.
Yeah, you might be annoyed at the other person. Oh no, I didn't want you to go that direction because I want to head over here. But it's
like where do you put the number to go? Actually, I want them to go this direction, which you can't guarantee, because I want that particular tile, and if I go too big too soon, the snake won't kind of enlarge itself, as it were, to get to the tile I want, but you might not even go in that direction anyway. So you're pivoting your choice constantly, going, I do want that, I do want this,
and you can't go on a spot. You can't go on a spot you really don't want, because if everyone passes, you're getting it. So it's not brain burnery by any stretch of the imagination, but it's puzzling in a good way.
Yeah, it's very puzzly, and we had that kind of puzzly evening, didn't we? Where we were just playing lots of puzzly games, and I'm really pleased because like you put an event up, and like I said, we had 3 of us, and we cracked through 3 games that evening, and it was a blast. It was a blast to just blitz through 3 separate games and kind of get those to the table, because I know they're not always the easiest to get to the table on a game night. They're usually I do it as a warm up or a warm down. Yeah,
they're a good filler as well. That kind of quick action game. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was exactly what I needed, I think, for that Sunday. So I was knackered.
It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there you go. That's our little Let's Talk About Hex. So I think we should go into kind of the main segment, which we titled Belonging at the Table. So we're going to look at the main segment, then we're going to talk about the belonging at the table. So it's kind of a wide topic, this, Becky, and you said this is kind of what you wanted to chat around, and so we kind of dissect it into different kind of topicy areas. So I think we're just going to have a bit of a chat, right? And we're just going to talk about what it means to kind of belong at the gaming table, whether you're new, mainly if you're new to the hobby, and what it's like to be new in the hobby. And this does align, I think, to you. Out of everybody in our gaming group, I think you are probably the evangelist to try and get people in to the hobby, because of the games that you like are more suited, I would say, than anyone else in our gaming group.
Maybe. But also, I think I know what gaming has done for me and continues to do for me. So a bit like any kind of sort of convert to anything, you become very evangelical about the thing, and you want to infect other people with your interest,
with your goodness.
And I do strongly believe that there is a game out there for everybody.
I do as well, 100%. There's just one you haven't probably found yet that kind of ticks your box. So what do you think, like putting your kind of newcomer hat on, right? Which is like for me, it would have been 11 years ago. And even then I was probably cheating, because I was still part of the hobby when I was a kid. So I kind of had this little dip. But what do you think are like the real barriers for the most newcomers coming in?
Well, I think maybe that the whole fear of the unknown, perhaps a little bit. So, oh my goodness, are there going to be really complicated rules? Am I going to look silly if I don't know the answer? Isn't board gaming just Monopoly and Cluedo and those games that everyone knows about at Christmas, and maybe you've witnessed some horrific family feud over, I don't know, someone's tipped the board over or something? Isn't that what board gaming is? So maybe just not knowing about it and worrying that if you do fancy playing, but I'm not going to know the rules, and everyone's going to look at me. And so I think that can be a really massive sort of off-putting thing for people.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because it's I think confidence is one of those things. Is people like it's a thing over there. Like I don't know if that's for me. Sometimes the people don't. Think, is that for me? It's.
I think because there's sometimes with games that are interesting looking, you can have people wander over and just be interested in the pieces. But if it's quite a dry beige euro, for want of a better word, that probably isn't going to, I don't know, draw people in with the nice colors or something. If it's an interesting IP that they know, if it's, I don't know, trying to think of an IP, a computer game that people know about or something that people recognize, then maybe that might sort of draw people in the first instance. But I think gaming can have a bit of a bad rap, but sort of, isn't it for sweaty, nerdy people? Sort of, maybe, I mean, I grew up, but the job I did for a lot of my kind of teen years and early 20s was working in a shop next door to a comic book shop. So maybe I've always cheated a little bit, and I've always been vicariously in that kind of group, I guess. Yeah. But I think, I mean, the idea of a girl going into one of those shops was like, oh my God, it's like a foreign species or something. So I think I would hope that kind of gender barrier isn't there so much anymore. I think it is a lot more inclusive, and it is a lot more known about, and games are definitely targeted towards women now, some of them.
Yep.
And I think do you need to target to a group or another? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I guess it's good for advertising, isn't it? But I think there has definitely been sort of, those walls have been broken down a bit. No, this is just for, it's not just pushing men on a stick, like your Risk kind of, that's not what board gaming is anymore. And I guess back in the day when board gaming and sort of Dungeons and Dragons were kind of together, you have got those, I don't know, sort of hoisty old tropes of, I don't know, scantily clad girl elves, right? Which is fine if you're into that, cool. Be you whatever you're into, but I can totally see why some people would be absolutely put off by that and just, nah, this is not for me, not interested. So I think gaming is definitely more available now, I would hope.
Yeah, I've noticed on basically, especially on Instagram, actually, a lot more inclusivity with like I say, female gamers being very prominent, and actually games kind of designed, I say designed for women, but being, like you said, more inclusive, and lots of different people from genders, this, that, age, all of it. It's people are getting involved in the hobby, and it's freaking awesome. It's really awesome to see.
I'm sure there is obviously a monetary side of things where they realise, oh, hold on a minute, we're
losing out.
Absolutely. So I'm sure, of course, there's some of that involved, but I think there definitely seems to be less barriers, I would like to think, or gatekeeping isn't quite as strong as it can be in some other hobbies.
Yeah, we know it's still there, but it's
for sure.
I think it's better than it's probably ever been. And that's, we want it to get even better. But let's kind of roll back a little bit. So in terms of your own experience, have you ever kind of experienced people bounce off the hobby? Have you ever had that kind of happen to you, or near you, or in your purview?
I mean, I think all of us in the group have kind of waxed and waned with it, sort of naturally through the hobby for various reasons. I think gaming should be fun, and that's why we do it. But sometimes I think if there's stress in your life or at work or whatever, sometimes it can lead you to not wanting to have to make decisions, even the good stress versions, such as board gaming and stuff. If you've got a really hectic stuff, lots of stuff happening, you don't then want to have to make decisions about stressful things in your spare time, perhaps. But I guess on the flip side of that, sometimes completely putting yourself into a game, similar to sort of immersing yourself into a good book or a film series or TV series or something, it can be a bit of escapism, can't it? So, there is both of those sides to the same coin, I think. With gaming with me, I think, if I've had really stressful life stuff or whatever, maybe solo puzzly games are okay because they're quite distracting, but I don't want to be set up with having to make decisions, because that's just part of my brain. I just go, no, I'm not interested in that. This is not fun for me anymore. This is not fun. I guess we've had a few people that have kind of come into the group and then played less, but we still kind of see them every now and again. And I think, sometimes life just gets in the way at times, doesn't it?
It is. It's about priorities, I think. I think we probably prioritize gaming a hell of a lot more than normal people.
Regular, those normal, I think you're right. I think you're right.
But I think it's because we know what the payoff is. and we know that what we get out of it is not,
Yeah.
you know, we don't do it because we just love games. We actually get, you know, some feedback from the game, whether that's emotion or whatever it is. We're getting something from the hobby, which we think is worth the time, don't we? So, yeah, it's an interesting one. So if we've got a new player to the table, so let's say you've got, I don't know, a game event coming up next week, and you know there's a new person coming. Like, what do you think, like, more experienced gamers should be aware of when a new player is coming for a gaming night? Like, because it's very easy to just kind of slip into the same old tropes, right? And deal with things in a certain way. But like, do you take special care that a new person is coming or not?
I think you should. I think me and you are quite similar in this, JP, where we're both very affected by the moods of everyone else around the table. So if I know someone, especially if they're in my house, if someone isn't having fun, that would ruin everything for me, and I would do anything I could to make it better. Because the idea that I've invited someone into my house to play a game that I love, and they're hating every second of it, I'd feel terrible. I'd feel really terrible. So I guess it's really important not to be over passionate, super excited about this game and sort of thrust it down their neck and be really, this is so amazing, you should go. Yes. So I think because we love it, maybe we can sometimes come across a little bit overwhelming. So I guess just, you know, chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think with some people, exactly. I think with some people, it's really important that you kind of set the ground rules. So they might be thinking, oh, am I allowed to drink at the table? Can I eat some crisps? Can I? So maybe sometimes having those conversations to get it out there removes the anxiety.
Yeah.
I guess with some people that might be like, oh, all right, I can't have a cup of tea, blimey, relax. But, you know, I think with my games, I'm fairly relaxed. I would never be as relaxed with other people's games. And I do make sure I say that if I'm sitting there eating, you know, I don't know, crisps and dip or something, I'm playing my game. I do make sure I say, I would never do this with your game, by the way, because I don't want people to think, well, she's an absolute tyrant with games. Oh my God, look at the greasy finger marks. But if it's my thing,
look at a Thousand Island sauce that she's just open up ready for her Doritos to go in.
Well, when I first got my crokinole board, literally one of the first things that happened in the first half an hour was I spilt chow mein on it. So, you know.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, when me and Ian were playing, and it was his first crokinole game. So it's a bit of a blast from the past for some of our older listeners. Ian, who was in sort of some of the very early episodes, then became Crokinole UK, head of the Crokinole UK group on Facebook, which is now doing massive tournaments and going all around the country, which is fantastic. So he played his first game of Crokinole, as I did, on my kitchen table. We ordered Chinese, and then I spilt my chow mein right on the board.
Did it go into the 20 hole?
It didn't. No, it didn't. It was all right. So yeah, I think if you've got a new player coming to the group, introductions are really important. But I think you very quickly know what kind of vibe you've got. So I think we are all quite comedy is quite important for us, and people saying you have to, well, try a political way of saying it. We might talk and make jokes at each other and about each other in a way that we all know. We all know it's banter and it's loving. It's our love language with each other. Whereas I think if you've got a new person involved, you kind of have to bear that in mind a little bit, and not ostracize them from the in jokes, but also don't scare them away and make them think that you're going to speak to them like that if if they're new or something.
Unless you're playing Game of Thrones, then all bets.
Unless you're playing game,
I'm sorry, but then
and I think
if that's the new play, I don't know.
It made the group, didn't it? It made the group, and I think
it did.
Maybe it's like a hazing ritual. If you can't deal with playing Game of Thrones, well, we don't want you.
We don't want you. But no, I think it's important. Like, and I've had it recently with a chap we played with on Sunday called Mark. Not Mark Monk from Ninja Geek Games, second plug of the episode. Different Mark, completely different guy.
We need a bell. Every time you name drop someone, we're just going to ring this bell.
I'll just put some graphic up there somewhere on the episode every time I mention him. No, it's a different Mark. And he's been wanting to kind of get back into games. He's not played since like the late 80s. And I've been trying to curate the right games for him to kind of come and play, and it's been an interesting experience. I've really enjoyed it, actually, because like the part of me is going, I just want to get Lisboa to the table. I would love that. And then I have to check myself and go, no, you come on, let's not be silly. And
this is
it's
not
really
an
heavy.
introduction.
And that could bounce him right off the hobby and go,
Yeah.
this is just not for me. I didn't enjoy it. So we've been picking kind of different games. I think it started with Deco, which is one of the new games. I think you played it at Full Board Gaming, which is that poker kind of poker game that's a bit like Balatro, which is a digital game. But I started him on that because it's like, well, you already know how to play poker. You're halfway there. You just need to learn deck building. And again, now know what deck building is. But then we played Agricola, again, quite mean, but as a game, quite straightforward. You do this, you put work there, get stuff, and he really enjoyed that. And then played March of the Ants, again, his introduction to 4X games, because he likes dudes on a map, kind of let's have conflict and fights and things like that. And I thought, well, it's kind of friendly, it's anti, so you can't really go wrong.
It's in a garden. Come on, how bad can it be?
It's kind of nice, isn't it? It's quite nice. And it's been really good. Trying to curate that.
Point. Curating is really important. And I think especially when you're known as the board gamer one and you're having to bring a new person in, they're looking to you to I guess, understand what they're going to like. And that can be easier or more difficult depending on how well you know someone. But I think reading the room and sort of, are they into a particular IP? Are they into, I don't know, puzzle games? Or are they into, 4X kind of dudes on a map? So, I think getting that sweet spot, and I think that's when it helps if you've got either a large collection yourself or a large group of friends with very diverse collections. You can kind of hopefully zone in on exactly what it is that you think, oh, this will bring them back in.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a responsibility I think we have. Like if I look at the shelf behind you, as a new player, and you go, well, what do you want to play? And you go, look at all of those, and you're like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what half these things are. That looks colourful, but I have no idea. So I think
you might think Spirit Island's good, but it turns out, no, I'm joking. Spirit Island is heavy. Good. It's just not for me. It's just not for me.
But it's heavy, and again, is that the sort of thing that you want to kind of introduce to people on the first play, and that kind of thing. So I think curating is a key thing. Is trying to understand what you think they would like. You're never going to get that 100% right, and I think people, if they know you're kind of picking certain games for people, and they didn't enjoy it, I think they would respect the fact you tried.
I think so. I would hope
tried to do it. I didn't enjoy it, but I appreciate you. Trying to think I might like that, and trying to zone in. Like, do you think it's that? And
I think there are some sort of, I don't know, guidelines you should use. So, for example, if English is not their first language of someone around the table, or spelling or dyslexia is going to be an issue for people, don't choose a word game, because you're absolutely going to isolate someone, and that's going to be really uncomfortable.
Not fun.
So, just sometimes just think a little bit, not just what games do you like, or do you think is really good or easy? Think about how that will play out to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go on to some games then, gateway games that actually work in our experience, because there's always caveats to that. There's like, play this game and everybody will be invested in this hobby, guaranteed. It won't, but I think ones that have worked for. Yeah, there's no guarantee. Ones that work for us. So if I was to say, what is your personal starter game that you recommend? Like, if you've got a new person, you already probably got one or two games in your head. Go, no, I'll just start them off with that. What would it be?
Yeah, so we did this over the weekend, actually. Curly had some friends stay over, and their girlfriend came along, and she isn't really a gamer. So we did that very, very typical thing of, we'll just play just one. Everybody can very quickly, but again, English is everyone's first language. We are understanding how this works. We say it doesn't matter what the spelling's like, so you're already kind of lowering the bar of expectation and hopefully ruling out some anxiety kind of areas. Yeah. So we played a few rounds of just one, very quick and easy to kind of set the scene.
Yeah.
Pulled out Flip 7. So Flip 7, really helpful. You don't even need to know how to add up. As long as you can differentiate a 6 from a 7, you can play Flip 7. I know that it's got some of its haters because it is massively, massively marketed and it is everywhere. but I have to be honest, that's because it's good. Everyone gets incredibly invested very quickly in what everyone else is playing, and for me, that's a really vital thing for getting someone into a game. Don't possibly pick them a game where there's a massive downtime between turns. You've got to keep it snappy, I think. You've got to get them sucked in within 10 minutes. If you haven't, you've probably lost your chance, to be honest. So for me, something where everyone is taking part together and there's no sitting around waiting.
Yeah.
That's what I would want to show someone. So things like, I mean, Tenby is a great one. There is the gap between turns, but you're using that time to look at your street or what's in the market row and trying to decide, oh, please don't take that one, I want it next. So, and it's a very simple rule set, incredibly simple rule set, but you've got to achieve something. And it's easy to see where you went wrong. So next time when you play, you can improve on it. And for me, that's a really important thing. How have I figured out the mechanics of this game? What do I think I need to do next time? So Tenby's a great one.
Yeah.
Rebirth is up there now, I think, for me, for a starter game. Very snappy, very quick. You can't sit and take a very, very long decision because you've not really got that many options. You're picking a tile, you're putting it down. Picking a tile, putting it down. Simples. Yes, there are things you're aiming for, but if you don't get them this time, well, what have you lost? Half an hour? It's fine. So I think those lower stakes are really important for me. But I guess it's important as to why you're trying to bring them in. Is it because you really want your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, your loved one to love games just as much as you do? And if that's why you're trying to bring them in, maybe just, don't overwhelm them. Don't convince them everything. I mean, for me, it's great. But equally, I wouldn't try and make Curly sit down and play a puzzle game.
No, we don't like him.
Because he doesn't like it. So why would I inflict that? Why would I inflict that on him? If you know your partner doesn't want to play a game about, I don't know, like with Verdant, making lovely pot plants in a house, if they're not interested in pot plants, houses or puzzles, it's not the game for them. It should be, because it's a great game. But, maybe sometimes just accept that someone doesn't want to play a thing.
Yeah.
Difficult, but...
I think that's fair. Rebirth is the one I also have in my mind. That's the one I will wheel out probably for most new players.
Yeah.
If I want to play a board game. Like, don't get me wrong, all the ones that you've suggested about, Flip 7 and stuff, I play them with people all the time. But what I love about Rebirth is at the end of your turn, you draw a tile out your bag. So already I've got the tile, I know what it is. I'm looking at the board going, where can I put that? And by the time I've even thought about where I'm going to place that tile, because it's quite obvious where you play, especially at the beginning. It's like so many choices, like go here. That everyone's done it. It's like done, you'll go again. Oh, okay. I'll put it there, get 3 points, pull another tile out of my bag. I've got this settlement now. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Oh, it's my go. Cool. Like you said, it snaps. It's just so quick. And like you say, the game doesn't overstay its welcome. It's done in half hour, 45 minutes, done.
You can't really get sort of analysis paralysis because, like you say, there's not many places where you can go. But it feels like a proper board game. So if someone was really averse to board games, well, I might try and lure them in by doing a card game then. So, like something like Deco, you're playing cards, which is something they already know, which is something that they've probably already maybe enjoy. Poker is a really common pastime, isn't it? So playing that kind of card game with someone, it's making them see it slightly differently and, oh, okay, yeah, I have enjoyed this. Yeah, it's about scoring points or collecting a thing. And if you like that, then maybe you might like these things. So you can sort of bring them in. I think Ticket to Ride is a really great one for ease of access.
Yeah.
But it can take a long time and there can be a little bit more, I don't want to say conflict because it's not about conflict, but if someone or two people go where you wanted to or needed to go, it can completely ruin your thing. And if that isn't something that you like in a game, I can see why that would be no, I don't want to play it because everyone picked on me last time and didn't let me go from Atlanta to wherever. And that could leave, a bit of a bad taste in someone's mouth. So I get why you might not like that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, something that board gaming has done for me has kind of let me practice conflict and conflict resolution and dealing with conflict in a way that I had never really done before, and something that I always found really, really tricky. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I don't care as much anymore about But I definitely think it's got something to do with the regular practicing in a board game safe kind of setting. People doing something that ruins your plans intentionally sometimes, which is difficult. But also you have to do it back, which is something I'd never really done before. So I think it can be really good. Maybe for children that not having children, I don't know, but maybe it can be good to practice that with children. Yes, sometimes life isn't fair, is it? Sometimes somebody goes on both of your railroads from Atlanta to wherever and it ruins your plan. Yeah, there you go. Deal with it.
Deal with it. And how are you going to deal with it is the question. No, I agree. I think conflict resolution. I think board gaming has made me more confident in conflict, and even at work, right? So I would always, used to avoid conflict like the plague. I'd hate it. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Me too.
And it hasn't changed. I still don't like conflict. I still don't relish it or want to be in that situation. I really don't get anything out of it whatsoever. I find it the most uncomfortable feeling ever. But I will do it. I will. Yeah. I don't shy away from it anymore.
It's a necessary part of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I'm happy to kind of, stick up for certain, situations with work, and I'm happy to put my beak in a lot more now than I've ever had to, and and it's and I think a lot of that's down to board game for the past 10 years, where you just get stuck in.
Agree. Yeah,
just like have it. But yeah, it's all good stuff. Okay, let's get another question. So, what's the kind of gateway games that people suggest what you don't think is a gateway game? Or you think, actually, I don't know if I agree that should be the one you choose, and if so, why?
I guess maybe Ticket to Ride, like I just mentioned. That it is a easy game. It's loved by many people, but it has got that failure element, which I think can be really damaging.
Yeah.
If you can't do your particular route or whatever, yes, of course, some of it is balanced by, are you a greedy person? Do you take more destinations when you shouldn't? But I think anything with a potential failure and irreversible sort of not routes, but irreversible choices where no, absolutely nothing I can do now will make any difference. That can feel quite crushing.
Yeah.
I think I'm just trying to think, and Spirit Island definitely isn't a gateway game, so no one would suggest that. I'm just thinking that looks very pretty and very colourful. It could deceive you by thinking it's quite simplistic because it looks very patchworky, I think.
Yeah.
And it definitely isn't. Other gateway games. I guess a lot of people might start with things like Terraforming Mars because it's such a big, common game. But I think it can take quite a long time and be quite a lot rests on your very first few moves. So again, if you've done that incorrectly or you haven't made the best choices, the whole rest of your game is affected. So I think that can be really downheartening because well, the rest of my games are I'm not going to be able to achieve it now, and that can be very crushing. And then you've got to sit there for another however many hours, knowing that you're not going to, Steph not going to win, but you're not going to do as well as you could have done. And I suppose if you can get used to games and you're happy to approach it in the way that you do, JP, like, well, this is just my first go. I'm going to pull buttons and see what happens. That's a great attitude to have, and I try to be more like that.
No, not everyone's got that.
No, and I think I'm better at it now than I ever used to be, maybe just from sheer amount of times I've done it. And it's like, actually, do you know what? It is okay. I'm not going to do very well on this, but it's fine. So I think there is just a certain amount of maybe stuff you have to just do, and then eventually you feel more like that. So I think, avoid games where you can really ruin the plan of your game in the first few goes, and it is completely irreversible.
Yeah, no one likes that. I think for me, Wingspan is the one that I see a lot of people say, just get Wingspan and off you go. And I fell victim of this fairly recently, because I was out in the US and basically with people we'll work with, I've got colleagues that I work out in the States, and they were like, talking about board gaming, and I was like, it's brilliant, and they said, well, what do you recommend? And I was thinking of games that I recommend, like for new players, and I said, Wingspan, and then they bought it, and then they said, we tried to play it, but
big purchase as well, isn't it? Sort of 60 odd quid.
Yeah, so we bought it, and so we tried to play it, but we just didn't know. And then we went over, I think it was February, me and Rob, and we went into Board Game Cafe, and they met us for lunch, and I said, I'll teach you it. And we did. I taught them Wingspan, and we got them through the game, and I think they were really appreciative and stuff. Thank you so much, because now they know how to play it, and off you go. But even when I was teaching it, I forgot. I kind of simplified this game down more than it actually is. In my head, I thought, it's just Wingspan, right?
Yeah.
And actually then sitting there teaching it to literally a new board game player that has never really got into it, and the questions that you were getting, I was going, I've messed up here. Like, this is not what I should have recommended at all, because the rule set.
Totally see that.
There's a lot going on. There's combos of cards. Is this, then this, then this, and you know, and I just thought, I've balls this right up. But we got through it. And they're fine now. But it made me realise I've got to be careful in certain recommendations. That could have gone the other way. I could have bought a board game and sat on the shelf, never played it again. Thanks.
Yeah.
You know, there we go. I think we could probably talk about this whole topic for another 17 hours. It's so it's so kind of open, isn't it? And I think, you know, in terms of getting new gamers to the hobby, we all want to do it. Especially, I think I was more like evangelical about it in my earlier years, because I was so excited. I wanted everybody to experience what I wanted to experience, and that's still there. But I'm less indoctrinating with it. Like, I'm probably less creepy. Like, but I think before I was like, no, you have to do this because it's changed my life. So I need it to change your life. And you know, when I look at you know, trying to get my wife, God bless her, Shell, into gaming, I mean, she's like, I'll play, but it's not really my thing. I'd rather do this or that or whatever.
It's not doing for her what it does for you.
No, and that's okay, right? And you have to kind of check yourself and realise that if you can't force people to enjoy it as much as you do, but if people do, brilliant. You know,
then you've got another convert to RT Game Nights.
Come in, be part of the gang. But no, I think it's such an important topic, one that we should continuously talk about in the hobby, and what can we all do? You know, you guys at home, what can you do to help kind of make people's first time experiences in the hobby, playing games, whether it's around people's houses in the events or whether it's at gaming conventions, and you know, you've turned up on your own and you're like, I have no idea what this is all about. How can you make this more accommodating, more kind of open for people, so they're more willing to stay? And we should all do that and be less beardy.
I don't think being less beardy, but at least look welcoming and not answer people's questions, but make it show that people are welcome to come and just watch you play a couple of rounds.
Yeah,
you know, or they don't have to play, but they can, you know, just watch for a start, and then they'll get them to play next time.
Exactly. So many innuendos in this.
100%.
Cool. I think we should get to the last part of the episode, Becky, if you're up for it. As part of the main episodes, I've asked people in the Discord server and people who kind of comment on YouTube and the socials to ask questions of the podcast. And I've actually got quite a lot to get through. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to chuck a couple into this episode. So if you're up, you can help me answer some of them, get your opinion.
Throw them at me.
Let's do it. So before I do that, I'm going to hit the last thing for nostalgia for you who's turners out there right now. There we go. Last question then, which is from Bob, also from our Discord server. And he said, why are we obsessed by the cult of the new? And a lot of these new games aren't as good as older classics, according to Bob. So why are we obsessed with it? Why do we want the new shiz?
It's weird, isn't it? Because I'm absolutely and utterly invested in the new shiny thing. And I know you are, JP, so we're singing from the same hymn sheet for this one. The new thing, especially if it's got expansions before you played the first game, JP. But I think it's the hype, isn't it? It's this could be the game that answers all your game wants. The only thing I can liken that to is buying a new like handbag or something. You think, oh no, this is the one that's going to mean I'm more organized and better at life and do this thing. So maybe we're looking for that sort of unicorn of games that is just the right amount of chance versus planning, whatever. And who doesn't like more shiny components and, new things? However, the trouble is you buy all the new things, you then skint. But yeah, it is the old games in my house and in my collection that trot out more often than any of the others. So yeah, Bob's right. He's absolutely right. Maybe the new ones just don't get the look in enough because we're still playing the old games. And for me, like I said earlier, that repetition of a game is really, really important for my enjoyment of the game long term. So maybe some of these new ones just aren't getting the airtime they deserve. I don't know. You've only got so much time, though, haven't you? So do you play a game you know you're going to love, or do you risk it for a biscuit and try an older one? I don't know.
That's the thing. I think, I'm always looking at new. I think most people are, because the industry's geared for that. And most industries are geared for that. We want a newer car. We want a newer thing. Because newer is better, right? Isn't right? Yeah. No, it's not always. But I think for me personally, what attracts me about the new is I'm looking for innovation in the industry or in the hobby. Yeah. So I like to see how games are progressing from how they have 10 years ago. When you talk about Terraforming Mars 2016 that come out, now we're 10 years on. What are games doing now that are innovating back from 2016 or 2006 or whatever, or 1996? What are they doing that's really interesting and different? And a lot of the times they're an amalgamation of previous game mechanics and things they blend together. And I will be honest, I get less excited about new games, even though I still get them. But in terms of that buzz feeling, like, oh my god, this thing is like really surprised me. It happens less and less and less, I think, the longer you're in the hobby, which is normal because you see more, experience more, you don't get surprised as much. But yeah. And Bob's got a point. There's some older classics that you will overlook for sure. And one example of that was when I played Clans of Caledonia, an older game. Just never got around to playing it. I just, not that I didn't want to. It just didn't happen. Time, whatever. And I had an opportunity to play it at a retreat recently. I bloody loved it. I said, this is fantastic. I can't believe I've missed this. And it gave me that excited feeling of brilliant. So I ended up picking it up in the end. And similarly, it happened with Underwater Cities. That was another one that passed me by.
That is a really good game, actually,
and it's like, that was really good. And I think there are a lot of old games that don't get the airtime. And, you should definitely check out, like, if you're into the hobby, because one, they're cheaper and generally they're more available. You can get them right now. You don't have to wait 3 years on crowdfunding.
That's true. I guess look at Mike around the table with us the other day. He hadn't gamed for, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. Think how much stuff has changed in that time. So, new stuff can be innovative and be exciting. However, some of those old classics are old classics for a reason.
Yeah.
There is a reason why Crokinole is still a really, really popular game because it's brilliant. Yeah. It's addictive in its simplicity, but I just want to do better this time. I will definitely. I understand it more now. I'm going to do. That's what keeps you playing again and again and again, isn't it? That wanting to sort of mastery of skill, I guess, or whatever. Especially if it's simple and looks like it should be really easy, that brings you back and brings you back.
Yeah, but I think why are we obsessed? I think it's because we're human. I think that's the answer. We're human and we are obsessed with new. We've been programmed for it.
Marketing works, doesn't it? Otherwise, they wouldn't spend millions and millions of pounds. Any of us that think that we're immune to marketing, I'm afraid you're kidding yourself there, because you are.
No, I always know I've fallen into the trap if I'm on a YouTube video watching a playthrough of a game. I'm like, I'm already in. Like, I've already invested enough time to watch an hour-long video on a gameplay. I'm like, I know I'm going to buy this. It's done. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But there we go. But I think we're there, Bex. I think we're at the end of the episode. It's been so lovely to kind of podcast with you.
You too,
again.
mate. Thanks so much for asking me on.
No, it's absolute pleasure. And and I'm sure we'll kind of bring you back, and who knows, maybe some other members of the team will jump on at some point as well, and we'll
I'm
just
sure they'd love to
have some kind of random chats about different things, because I do miss you guys. It is kind of weird podcasting on my own, so it's quite nice to bring some of the gang back and have a bit of a board gaming chat. But yeah, thank you for coming on, mate.
No worries. Thanks again for having me.
No worries. What an awesome experience to get Becky back on the mic. It's always great to get the fellow whose turn team back, and yeah, it just brings back the feels, you know. It's really good, and I love doing it. Maybe we'll do more reunion episodes in the future. Obviously, Whose Turn Is It Anyway isn't coming back in its full force. It's definitely been sunsetted, but it's also nice to give it a bit of a nod, because, you know, that's where I come from, and I'm very proud of that show and the team that are a part of it. So there you go. If you enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. You got to like, you got to comment, you got to engage, and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you are watching the show. It really helps. Please do it. And yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. And if you want to support the show even further, I am on Coffee, and you can do that by, you know, chucking a few quid my way. And basically, it levels up this, it levels up that, it levels up the show. We get to get bigger and bigger and better, and we can produce more content for you. So let's see if we can do that. That'd be brilliant. And for those that do support, and those are our Coffee supporters, or as I call them, just players, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, definitely. All that's left to say is you only grow old when you stop playing. Take care, everyone.